All right, so now we have, up to this point, fetched a list of courses and rendered them as a grid layout. And then we've navigated from that one component to another component that shows the details for that particular course. Right? So that's a very common design pattern, right? That you navigate from a summary, high-level list of things, and then you navigate to a details page. Yes? In this case, the summary is the list of all courses, and the details page is the details for that one particular course. Yes, and each one lives in its own page. Right, the list lives in one page, and you navigate to a details page. Okay, but you can do something similar using embedded or nested components. Right, where clicking on one list or summary components then allows you to display different content of some other component, right? Some embedded component, right? So let's explore how that would be implemented. So to illustrate this, what we'll do is that we'll now add a list of modules, right, for a course. So if you select a particular course, I'd like to show a list of all those modules. Yes, and which module? What list of modules? It will be the list of modules based on the course ID. Right? So this module list component that we're going to be building now is also going to be listening for that. Is going to subscribe also to that course ID, right? And it will display a different list of modules depending on the course ID. Okay, and we're going to do it embedded. So notice here that we have the course viewer that has the title. And embedded there, we're going to add a module list component embedded inside of this component. All right, so let's do that. Let's create another component that we can embed. Right, so let's do ng generate component module list, and then embed it inside of our course viewer. So right now our course viewer just lists shows the title of the course. Let's now include here the module list. If we re-render, notice that it just shows module list works. That's all it does. Right? Ideally, it would be listed as a list of modules. Right? And we already know how to build a list of modules. We can copy one of those lists that we've been working all along. Let's replace this with some content in there. So instead of just module list, perhaps this might be H3 module list. Right? And under there, we can have an actual list of modules. Right? So we can have maybe a UL. And this could be a class, a list group, and then we can have several list group items, and this would be maybe module 1, several of these modules listed there, right? Yeah, just a list of modules. Although perhaps the first one we could use as a header. Right, if we can just change its background color, right? The first one we could use as a header, and call this modules. But if we add the active class, it will change the background to be inverse, right, with a nice blue background. Okay. So what we'd like to be able to do is that instead of having this hard-coded list of modules, is that we'd like to fetch the list of modules based on the course we've selected. So let's do that. So where is that? Well, just like we loaded this particular course because of that URL, we would like to do something similar in the module. We also would like to listen in for that route, right, being activated. Okay. So we can do something similar, right? And we can. If we go to the module list component, where is it here? Module list component. Here too, we can listen for the route, any changes in the route, right? So we can say here, private route, and then this would be activated route, and we can listen in for this, and you can say this could be something like this, route params. If something change, pass me the parameters and send them to maybe, and use the course ID to load the modules for that course. Right? So this could say this dot load modules, and we can pass this as an argument params sub course ID. Right? So the function load modules takes as argument course ID. For now, we can just store a local copy of this course ID. Right? We can say this dot course ID equal course ID, and we can just render it, right? Just to make sure that we're getting it here as an argument. Module list for course, and then course ID. Yes? Just to make sure that we have it in the component. And indeed we do, right? So it's 1, right? So if I change this to 2, this has 2 or 3, right? So the component is aware of changes in the URL, right? And it can take action about it. Right? We can, for instance, in our particular case, is that we would like to load the modules for that particular course. Okay. So to do that, in the component, we will need some kind of service that can fetch data about that one course, right? Get the modules for that one course. So what we'll need to do is have a service dedicated for the modules, right? So again, we like to split up any data access, have a dedicated service for that particular entity type, right? So let's create here a module service. So this will be module.service.client.ts. And in here, we'll do just very similar to what we did in the module, right? We'll do an export class module service client, and this will be something like find modules for course, taking as argument a course ID, and using a module URL that will look something like this. It will be something like HTTP ://localhost :8080, and this will be API course / here will be the course ID, and followed by module. So that's the URL pattern, yes, that we would like to hit. And we need to replace the course ID with the actual course ID that comes in as an argument. So we could do we can return a fetch. We can return whatever the fetch comes back with, right? So we'll go out to the module URL, but we're going to replace the course ID with our local variable with our parameters. So we're going to do replace course ID. We're going to replace it with our course ID parameter. Okay. And we're gonna parse. Let's see, where is it? I'm going to say then, and we're going to parse the response. We'll parse it and return the body, parsed as JSON. Yes. All right. Don't forget that you'll need to register that as a provider, right? In app modules. We don't have it here, so let's open it up. Modules, app module, and we'll register as a provider. There it is. And so now we're ready to use it in the components, right? In the load modules, right? We can just declare here a local variable of modules, which is going to initially be an array, an empty array. Now, note that I'm not strongly typing it, but you are responsible for typing it for your assignment, right? So strongly type your modules, your courses, your lessons with all the data types. Okay. So here we're gonna do we're gonna go out to the service. We'll need to inject the service. So let's do that here in the constructor. So private service will be of type module service client. There it is. And we'll use it right here, right? In the load modules, we'll say this dot service dot find module for course. And here's a course ID. And when it comes back and it calls us back, hopefully it'll be with the modules, which we're going to feed our local modules array, right? With those modules. Yes. Excellent. So now we're just ready to actually render them as lists on the template. So if we go to a template, instead of having this hard-coded list of modules, we can erase these, right? And we can instead use this as a template and copy paste this for every single module in the array, right? So we can say for ng4 module, we're going to declare a local module variable of type in the modules array, right? And we'll render that here. So this will be module.title. There. So that's the only module in 5200. But if we go to 5610. We have many more modules, right? We have React, Angular, Node.js, MongoDB, and so on and so forth. Make sense? All right. So ideally, we would like to be able to do something similar, but instead of passing the path from one component to the next component, right? From one page to the next page, how about two components that live on the same page, right? Where modifications on one of them affects the other one. Right, so they have to talk to one another, right, somehow, and so that if I perhaps click on any one of these, it affects content on the same page, right? So let's do that next.